doing, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, and yes, we talk about the pursuit of happiness, and show you, the audience, and the world that Cajuns do have intelligence on day 3 of the TikTok ban. And I say TikTok ban, I can still post videos on it. I'm just restricted from doing live streams. And the ironic thing about that Friday, I started thinking about all that after. I supported TikTok. I said, TikTok, you have a right to free speech. You have a right to have your company. And they go ahead and pull. I guess the woke mob's more important than support, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm not on TikTok right now. So, if you're coming from TikTok, like, hey, why Isaac isn't posting or going live, come over here, come hang out with us on the podcast. We would love to have you and all that good stuff. Still will be posting videos and thoughts that I have today. So, Friday, what was going on Friday, man? We had a lot of news, man. It just didn't stop. It didn't stop. We had the House passing the $1.2 trillion spending bill. We had Marjorie Taylor Greene just go off the rails and say, well, you know what? Since y'all passed this bill, I want to oust Mike Johnson, and went ahead and put forth a resolution, or she went ahead and challenged the speaker, which in my opinion is one of the dumbest things she could have done, because you only have a two vote majority, and unless they want a Democrat being the House Speaker, this is a dumb move in my opinion. And then we go down to 1 vote majority with another Republican stepping aside. And it's crazy. Then we got Trump selling Truth Social, and he won't get the money before the deadline today. And we're probably going to talk more about Trump's legal battles tomorrow, depending what happens today, because it is the deadline for Trump to go ahead and pay the $460 billion, I think it is, in bond, or they're gonna start collecting his assets. And then you had, unfortunately, a terrorist attack in Moscow, where heavily armed gunmen opened fire at a Russian concert hall and set the building on fire, or they did an explosion. Last I heard of that, Putin already said that they caught 11 people, and they're not playing around. ISIS claimed responsibility for that. That all happened Friday. Now, I did not collect any news stories for the weekend, because Friday's events were so jam-packed. The only thing I did this weekend that I kept an eye on was a local political race, and I have my opinions on that. I expressed my opinions on Facebook, and it was, for change. And I'm briefly talk about that. All people are asking for change. Oh, we need change. Nothing is happening in our small town or our city or our country. Man, we need change. An election comes up and they vote the exact same people except for one person. And the only reason they voted for that one person was because somebody stepped down and didn't want to run again. So, we need change, but they vote the same exact people. And the only person that was making change and doing right, they voted that person out. Oh, we need change in that department of the city. And you're like, well, he was the only person doing anything. It makes you scratch your head and wonder. And people that don't understand politics no more, in my humble opinion. But yeah, that all happened Friday. While that was happening, I got banned on TikTok, and I was at a church conference. 2 Mics Live had me on Friday night to discuss a little bit of what happened to me on Friday and why I got banned. Apparently, I don't know if somebody reported me or whatever, but we talked about that and the possibility of TikTok yielding to the left to try to stay in this country. So that all happened Friday, and I know you're not here to hear about everything on Friday. I was just talking about the news day. The news day was just crazy on Friday, and unfortunate thing that happened in Moscow and all this stuff. But I want to talk about the Republican Party a little bit, if you would let me. Ladies and gentlemen, when I get articles or I get news alerts on my phone, about things like what's going on in the Republican Party, it makes me scratch my head and wonder: Are the Republican Party is the Republican Party trying to sabotage themselves? Okay, and the reason I'm asking that is because the Republican Party have a golden opportunity. They had a golden opportunity in 2022. They blew it up. They messed up on it. 2020, Trump and Biden weren't the ideal candidates to go into that race with. But a lot of things happened in 2020. We lost the House of Representatives. We lost the Senate, and we lost the presidency. Now we understand COVID played a big role into that. Laws were changed in some election states. We understand all that stuff. There was a lot of things that was up against the Republican Party, correction. And there was a lot of things that you have to scratch your head and wonder what happened in 2020. 2022 was a golden opportunity. We had this, there's going to be a red wave. The polls showed that possibly the Senate and the House of Representatives would turn red, and it would be this wide margin. Kevin McCarthy could do whatever he want. And it wasn't a red wave, it was a red trickle. And the golden opportunity was in 2022. Republicans just messed up. And I'm seeing it again. I'm seeing it again in different forms. And one is passing the $1.2 trillion government spending bill to avoid this government shutdown. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm tired of hearing about a government shutdown. Every 3 months, we hear that the government they have to do something to keep the government open. And they always doing these Optimus bills where it keeps the government open until September. It keeps the government open till in February. It keeps the government open. If we keep doing this, first off, we're still raising our debt. And every time we pass one of these Optimus bills, it keeps on. Yeah, it keeps the government open, but it's spending money we don't have. That's simple. And it goes to the point. Look, the government does this and is failing. And they expect American people to understand this. When American people, if you're good with finances or you have some knowledge of finances, if you keep adding on to a credit card while you're in debt, you're going to have to file bankruptcy after a while. Why? Because you're going to get to a point where you cannot afford the debt. And look, layman's terms, if you had a credit card of $100 and you exceed the $100 and you're like, well, I can't pay the $100, and the credit card company comes out and says, well, that's okay, we're going to extend it to another $100. You spend that $100 and you don't have no more money, and the credit card company keeps adding to that. After a while, you're going to be so much in debt that you won't be able to get out of it. And that's what America's doing. The American government is that what they're doing is keep on adding to the credit card. And guess what? Now we're getting close to $35 trillion. And this isn't happening over a year span. This is happening over a span of a couple of months. When Joe Biden got into office, and I remember it was around $28 trillion. Now we're sitting about $35 trillion. The debt keeps going up. And the Republicans are partially to blame because Republican leadership are allowing these bills to go through instead of saying, hey, enough's enough. But they voted this in the law. The legislation passed 286 to 134. And more Republicans voted against the bill than for it. 112 GOP lawmakers opposed the bill, and 106 voted for it. Just 22 Democrats voted against it. So it was a bipartisan bill, but the package compressed 6 Optimus bills that account for roughly 70% of discretionary government spending was unveiled around 3 a.m. on Thursday night. It is aimed at funding the government through the remaining of the fiscal year of 2024, which ends on September 30th. So in September, right before the election, it's funny how all this is happening right before the election. We're going to have talks of how the government is going to shut down if we don't pass another bill. Ladies and gentlemen, September 30th is only 2 months before the election. And guess who's going to go on TV and say who's going to be for blaming for not keeping the government open? And that's going to be the Republican Party. And it's going to make the Republican Party look bad. Excuse me. So Mike Johnson pushed this bill through. It passed. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was not happy with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene said on Monday that this is outright spending, and if they would pass this bill, she was going after Mike Johnson. This goes back to when Mike Johnson first became House Speaker, what Matt Gaetz did to Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy was not fulfilling the promises that he told the Republican Party he was going to do, or the conservative wing of the Republican Party. Matt Gaetz got his cassons in a bunch, as we say here in Cajun country. And instead of trying to work with Kevin McCarthy, he ousted out Kevin McCarthy, and that started this whole mess. At the time that Kevin McCarthy was House Speaker, we had, I think, 5 votes that we could hinge on. And unfortunately, them 5 votes weren't in favor of him. You had 8 conservative Republicans that said they wanted to get out Kevin McCarthy. And again, I'm going back to what Matt Gaetz did back then. He was talking about how Kevin McCarthy teamed up with the Democrat Party to pass legislation, but he teamed up with the Democrat Party to get out, to oust Kevin McCarthy. It just didn't make no sense. But after this bill, which is not a good bill, I disagree with it. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out and says on Friday that she wants to remove Mike Johnson as the Speaker of the House. And we're probably going to talk about that later on, but ladies and gentlemen, it's starting to circus all over again. Well, we don't get our way, so guess what? We're going to go ahead and vote you out. Now, look, I don't agree with the bill. I said this on TikTok the other day. This is a double-edged sword. I do not agree that Mike Johnson let this bill through. I don't know what Mike Johnson's doing. At the same time, at the time of this vote, he only had a 2-vote majority. So Mike Johnson and Newt Gingrich said this on Fox on Friday that the way that he ran the House, Mike Johnson has to run it different. Newt Gingrich had votes that he could spare. Mike Johnson doesn't. Now that he has a 1-vote majority, and that is because this is according to Politico, another Republican is stepping down. A Republican from Wisconsin, Gilder, I guess his name is, Representative Mike Gilder, had decided he will exit the House as soon as next month, according to 2 people with knowledge of the matter. So Mike Johnson is going to be losing another vote. So Mike Johnson is only going to have a 1-vote majority. And if one more Republican would leave, that is potential that Hakeem Jeffries would be voted in as House Speaker right before the election. So Mike Johnson has to do things to try to keep his speakership. Now, it isn't good for the country. I understand that. But Marjorie Taylor Greene wants him to take a stand when you have never-Trumpers, rhino Republicans that could do the exact same thing that Marjorie Taylor Greene's doing, and we can have a Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. So for Marjorie Taylor Greene to even bring up this vote, this is giving the Democrats an opportunity to potentially put in their Democrat House Speaker. See how that's just... So Marjorie Taylor Greene pushing this is not a good idea. I understand she's butthurt that she lost the fight to not get this bill spent, to get this bill passed, or to not get passed. But hey, you lost. Well, I'm going to go after Mike Johnson. What do you want Mike Johnson to do? Like Mike Johnson said in his defense, I have to govern. I have to do something. Now, Mike Johnson could have said, no, we're not going to push this bill through. And we would have had a government shutdown, which the last one that happened didn't really hurt America. We have a lot of people that are depending on the federal government, which our founding fathers did not want to happen, but is happening. And like I said, this is a double-edged sword. Yes, the bill that passed, it's going to hurt America. But at the same time, we're going to start back a whole circus of looking for a speaker in an election year. And I'm not the only one that feels this way. There's tons of people that have commented on my section, that comment on my video, and have commented on my Facebook post that said this is wrong. Marjorie Taylor Greene should file the bill, like remove the bill from being filed. Now, she tries saying that, look, this isn't a pink slip. This is just a warning to Mike Johnson. Removing a man from his job that, look, Mike Johnson is a conservative. I know he's a conservative. But the way he's acting, it makes me scratch my head. But you being a House Speaker is not the easiest job. This is the third in line. This is the second in line for the presidency if anything happened to Joe Biden. And I'm just saying that they need to get their act together. And why do I say, well, are the Republicans sabotaging themselves? Well, stuff like this it doesn't look good, but it also don't look good. Like I said, the respective representative from Wyoming, can't say his name right, so that's how I'm going to say it, is leaving at the end of the month. The Colorado representative left because he has political ambitions. He don't want a Trump ally to win. That's what is going around. And even with that point, I wonder, these never-Trumper Republicans, these rhinos, I wonder if they're stepping aside so Hakeem Jeffries can get into position and they can oppose Trump come in November. Because you think about it, okay, if Democrats in control of the House and the Senate, they control a lot of stuff. They can push through voting laws to stop Donald Trump. Think about it. And look, I feel there is Republicans like that. There's Republicans that say, look, we don't like Trump, and we don't like him more than we don't like the Democrat Party, so we're going to help the Democrat Party to stop him from being president of the United States if it's putting in an old buffoon that don't know what he's doing. Now, look, I'm not trying to be labeled a conspiracy theorist. It just, you start thinking these things. Is the Republican Party trying to sabotage themselves? You just have to wonder. Because going back to all the stories I just mentioned, Mike Johnson passing his $1.2 trillion bill, the American people don't want that. They want America to live on a budget, not, Optimus bill. We're going to spend $1.2 trillion here like it's a $2 bill or $5 bill. People don't want the Republican Party to be divided, but they're divided with Marjorie Taylor Greene trying to oust out Republicans. And then you have every so often hearing of a congressman not fulfilling his duty and saying, I want to resign and I don't want to be part of this no more. If you love the country, stay there until your term's over. But they're putting Mike Johnson in a tougher position. All during an election year. That is critical. Now, I don't think people are going to put this on Donald Trump. But think about this, all right? Donald Trump wins the presidency, and he don't win the Senate. Now, the Senate is looking favorable, depending on the state. I'm not looking at polls. I'm looking at the states. The Senate looks pretty good for the Republican Party. Is it a slam dunk? No. Anything could happen. I'm going to use an example, and this is what I was hearing from people. A little town had an election this week, and everybody else hearing from that little town, we're going to change the council. We're going to go ahead and do this. We're going to do this different. We're tired of the same old, and guess what? They voted in the same old. And it all because they're my friend. And that's the same thing on national politics. Anything can happen. But the Senate looks good according to state to states, but the Democrats could still hold the Senate, and the Democrats possibly could take over the House of Representatives. So if Donald Trump becomes president and he signs tons of executive orders, which he has the right to do, apparently, he could do things through the executive order, but he might not be able to do things through the House of Representatives or pass laws that will go through Congress. And guess what? We're going to be in the same pickle as we were in the first 2 years of Donald Trump. Remember, Donald Trump was handicapped his first 2 years as president of the United States. Why? Because he had the House of Representatives, but you had a joker in there, Paul Ryan, that stopped Donald Trump doing everything he wanted to do. Then they lost the House of Representatives to Nancy Pelosi, and then Donald Trump was really handicapped. Yes, he got things done. Awesome. But he could have done a lot more. And I feel some Republicans hate Donald Trump so much that they're going to side with the Democrats to stop him. And instead of doing what's best for the country, they're going to do what's best to keep money in their pocket and to have power. And it's sad that we live in a society like that. It's sad that we have people in Congress and in our government like that. But guess what? Most of these people and this is Republican and Democrat, most of these people don't care about you, the citizens of the United States. They care about their power and their pocketbook. And I hope the people I talked about today aren't feeling that way, but it makes me wonder, is the Republican Party sabotaging themselves to stop Donald Trump? And I think it is. Well, Isaac, aren't you a Republican? Yes. But I call balls and strikes. I don't understand. Friday I was at a church conference. When I got these alerts in, I'm scratching my head. What is the Republican Party doing? I think they're trying to lose an election. That's how I feel. With that being said, it's going to wrap up this episode of the Cajun Conservative Show. Again, thank you for listening to the show. If you can, leave me a 5-star review if the option is there. Like and subscribe to the show. We're on Apple, Google. We are on Spotify. We are on iHeart and Amazon. We are also on YouTube and Rumble. I want to thank my good friends at HairClub for partnering up with us as well. HairClub, is a great American company. They realize that hair loss is a big problem in America, and they want to help you. They have over 600 consultants that can help you. If you hit the link in the bottom of the description and use the promo code BGSmedia10, that's BGSmedia10, they will give you special discounts on your appointment for to resolve your hair loss. And great people that work at HairClub. We have a mutual friend that works there, and great people, great company. Go ahead and check them out if you have hair loss issues. With that being said, until next time, be blessed, be encouraged. Remember, Jesus Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's coming back soon, so don't be faint of heart. Jesus has overcome the world. You know Jesus, your Lord and Savior. You can always reach out to us at thecajunconservative5@gmail.com, and we'll tell you how to make Jesus your Savior and heaven your home. Until next time, you be blessed and encouraged.